Hi everyone, my name is Mary Beth. Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do a weekly update on the DM and the DF energies for the week of February 2nd through February 9th. So before we start though, I kind of wanted to let you know what's been going on. So there's been the song playing in my head over and over. So it's the song, I believe it's called Someone You Loved. And it's kind of like I was getting kind of used to being someone you love. Do you know that song? It's kind of a new song. So it's been playing over and over in my head this week. And then, as a matter of fact, on Friday, I almost felt like this sadness, almost like a great deal of sadness. And I think a lot of it had to do with my own twin flame journey, but I think it also has a lot to do with the collective because I asked. I said, wow, this is something definitely going on, I think, in my own personal journey. But then I said, but wait, does this have to do with the collective? And then after I pulled the cards for the reading for this week, I feel like it is a theme and I feel like it is something that the divine wants the collective to know. And so before I get into that, I just kind of want to, kind of go over what's been happening. And that is in my own twin flame journey, the the energies have been more like kind of shifted, and I realized what I did and what I did to become a little more imbalanced than I was, because I learned how to balance my own divine feminine, my own divine masculine energies. But then I think this week I became a little bit too independent in my thinking, and it made it a little more imbalanced. And so what I mean by that is, I was very well aware in order to divine masculine energies to feel good enough to be in this relationship in the 3D, I had to feel whole and good enough on my own. So I had to be whole in myself. And that meant, not like needing anyone, not yearning for anyone. And that also has to do with things as well. Anything we consider an idol, anything that we consider something that we have to be happy that we're chasing. So I knew in order to feel balanced that I would need to be whole as I am now, feel abundant and what I am now and what I have and all that. So I was feeling pretty good and I was feeling pretty happy and everything was going really well. But then all of a sudden on Friday, I started feeling, I don't know if you guys did as well, but I started feeling like this real sadness, like almost like the entire day, just like an entire sadness. And I know that we can feel our counterparts' feelings because it's really us in another body. So, but what I tend to forget is that what I'm doing to my counterpart, I'm doing to myself, and that way I'm inflicting myself. I tend to forget that because I'm trying so hard to get into the 5D. I'm trying so hard to not live in the third dimension and to think and feel in the fifth dimension. So when I start to do things and think things that are more counterproductive, such as, so this is what I did, and maybe I'm just telling you because maybe you did this as well and maybe made yourself a little more imbalanced. So because I was very much into the whole, I am whole by myself, I started saying to myself, what does not help me grow is not from my highest good. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, I've been saying a lot about that, which is true for a lot of things. But when you say that about your twin flame, when you're saying about your twin flame, if you're saying what is not helping me grow is not for my highest good, and that's why in the 3D it hasn't manifested. I kept saying that and thinking that over and over. Now it's true for a lot of things. If things aren't making you grow, like if there's TV, like I used to love certain TV shows that I feel like aren't really helping me grow. So I'm like, oh my God, this is not for my highest good. I do not need to be watching these TV shows anymore. But I was actually thinking about my twin flame in that way in the 3D. And what that did was it started harming me because that is me in another body. And so I have this chart that helps me to keep balanced between my divine feminine and my divine masculine energies. And I even made up cards to kind of tell me if I'm balanced or imbalanced. And the cards told me that I was imbalanced, and it was telling me that I was definitely had an insufficient earthly feminine. And what that means is I was becoming rigid and cold and serious. And what that was causing in my divine masculine side of me in the 3D is being more protective. And so I even do like my own energies. I do it on my own to see where we're at in the tarot. And so what it looks like is that because of my discourse and my own thinking, and I would do this every morning and saying, oh, because I was feeling so whole and I was feeling so independent and I was feeling so abundant and great all by myself, which is good because that's what you're supposed to do. But at the expense of myself and another body, I would say, but if this person's not helping me to grow, then they're not for my highest good. And what that discourse was doing, it was making my divine masculine feeling not good enough. Because I was very surprised by the cards where my divine masculine wasn't feeling good enough, not feeling equal, feeling like he's wounded me, feeling like he hasn't treated me right. All these things were, came up in the cards. And I was very surprised to see that's where we were at in the 3D, especially the way I felt. I felt very like sad. I could feel the sadness. And so the song that kept going, I didn't understand why the whole, someone you loved, like it kept playing the entire week. I was getting kind of used to being someone you loved. And then I realized, I'm like, was I not being, so in order to be balanced, you have to be nurturing. And I wasn't being nurturing. So it was like my 5D divine masculine was telling me, all you're doing is saying that you don't love him anymore. Like that, like that's basically what you're doing. You're saying you don't love him anymore. And my divine masculine in the 3D was really feeling that. It was almost like, oh wow, I was getting so used to feeling loved by you, and now I don't feel loved by you anymore. And so after pulling these cards, I feel like a lot of us are going through the same thing right now, almost like the pendulum has went the other way. And so just to kind of go over like how, because yes, our twin flame is for our highest good. There are catalysts for change. It is us in another body. When we love ourselves, which is what I'm learning, when I love myself, they feel loved. So I keep loving myself. And then even my divine masculine in the 3D is feeling the love. And when I love myself, my divine masculine is also loving me. And so there's no doubt that that is missing. So I mean, there's no doubt that that's not missing. So there's definitely love there. My divine masculine is loving me, but my divine masculine wasn't feeling the love from me because of my own discourse of, oh, this person is not for the highest good, not helping me grow, and therefore I will only think about my 5D divine masculine, because that's what I was focused on, my 5D, and then saying my 3D is not for my highest good. And really what all I'm doing is saying that about myself. so so yes, there are things in this world that are not for our highest good. And it's good to say that yes, we are whole beings and we don't need a particular thing to be happy. And then that's the other side of this coin, is that I want to tell people is that being on this journey, I was on this journey where I met my twin flame in the 3D in 2017. And so we went through all of 2018, and then we went through half of 2019 without seeing each other. And then we got into physical union and we were together between May of 2019 and September of 2019. And then that ended, and then since then I've been on my own and he's been on his own, although since that time he's figured out we're twin flames and he's figuring out a way to get back in physical union. And I know this through my tarot, and I know this through channeling and that type of thing. But what I want to tell everyone is this. So because I know what it's like to be in 3D union, I want everyone to know, please don't make that to be your be all end all end game. And that's like all it is, because it really is just being in a relationship with yourself. And all they do is mirror back what's not healed in yourself. And there's always going to be healing going on. So it's not an easy relationship. And so I I don't want you to waste time thinking about, oh, I will be happy when we're in union, or I'm not going to be happy until I'm with this person again. Because honestly, there'll be times in physical, and I know some of you already know this because some of you have been in union like me after the whole year and a half of being in separation. I know many of you have done this, so you already know what it's like. And sometimes there's no joy in the physical 3D relationship. There's no joy at all because they're mirroring back stuff that you didn't heal inside of yourself, and then you feel like, oh, I need friends or I need something else to bring me joy. And so it's actually easier to be separated in a way. Um, so I don't want everyone to get caught up in the whole, oh, when all my dreams will come true when I'm in a physical union. Now don't get me wrong. Once you're in physical union, you will appreciate yourself in another body, but they will still be your catalyst. They will still remain your catalyst, and they will still remain your biggest change maker. It's not 3D love. It's not something you could be codependent on. It's not. You're not going to be codependent on your twin flame. It's not going to be about, oh, you're going to take care of me now. It's none of that. It's all has to do with growth. All has to do with spiritual growth. All has to do with I don't know. Like I look at it as getting out of the 3D into the 5D. That's how I look at it. It's teaching you to balance out your own divine feminine and your own divine masculine energies to help you get out of this matrix. Okay. And so again, just like last week, I'm going to kind of do the reading the same, a little bit different, but kind of the same as to how you're doing with the divine feminine and divine masculine energies. Please remember to think of it as your own divine feminine and your own divine masculine energies inside of you that is being manifested in the 3D. Okay. And so just to give you an idea of what it is to be balanced, and what it is if I'm talking about your spiritual feminine and your spiritual masculine, this is everything above your heart chakra. If I'm talking about anything to do with your earthly feminine and your earthly masculine energies, those are your chakras below your heart chakra. Okay. So in order to be balanced in your spiritual feminine, you need to use your intuition. Don't overthink. Use your intuition. You need to have compassion for others, especially your twin flame, since it's you in another body. You need to be contemplating and introspective and focus on yourself, okay? Now, in order to be balanced in your spiritual masculine side of you, you must have focus, you must be committed, you must be methodical, and must have direction, and that usually has to do with your mission or your passion or some type of creativity. When you're balancing and you're balanced in your earthly feminine, that has to do with being patient, being receptive, and being nurturing. And that's where I went wrong this past week. And I'm not really worried about it because there's no such thing as time, and timelines will collapse once I go back to what I was doing. So being nurturing means, again, not feeling like this person is a separate entity than you. It's more like loving yourself, nurturing yourself, treating yourself with respect, but definitely no discourse of saying, oh, my twin flame is not for my highest good. That's why we're not together. Because that was making me rigid, cold, and dry and serious, which is causing my divine masculine side of me to be protective, and then it could also cause rigidity. I can't say it. Rigid ideas, fighting, aggression, that type of thing. Okay. And then in order to be balanced in your earthly masculine, it has to do with forward going, organizing, assertive giving, and having valor. Okay, so that's how you're balanced. Okay, if you want to know how to balance yourself out. So with this reading, I'm going to talk about your spiritual feminine, your spiritual masculine, your earthly feminine, your earthly masculine, and then I'm going to go into what's not in balance for the collective, and then I'm going to go into a message for each, from the masculine to the feminine and vice versa, as well as I'm going to go into what some divine guidance as well for each, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So I hope that helped. I like to try to share my journey to kind of, I don't know, help people. But I do believe this song has a lot to do with everyone. So the divine counterpart, again, does not have the divine masculine does not have to be male. 40% of the divine masculine is actually female, and vice versa, just so you know. There's a lot of males out there who are the divine feminine and they're feeling this way. Okay. And they're the ones that are awakened first in many of the relationships. Anyway, the divine that's sending me this song, I think is basically telling me that whoever's awakening first, whatever divine counterpart that is, they're just saying you need to still love your divine counterpart. No matter what's happening in the 3D, you need to love your divine counterpart because, first of all, they're just being a catalyst to help you grow into your best self, as well as they are helping you to get out of the matrix, as well as the fact that it's you. it's you in another body. This is the path you took to learn how to move up spiritually from the 3D to the 5D. It's the way out of the matrix. Okay, and I'm going to have more videos on that. And please check out my other videos. I'm going to start doing, right now I'm doing a lot of uplifting videos for everyone to get you through, because I could see everyone's going through a tough time. But I feel like I'm going to start naming it more about like how to get your life back. I feel like everyone needs to get their life back. But I just needed you to know, like, being in physical union with your twin flame is nice, but it's not what you think. It's not the same as what you'd see, in some kind of romance movie. It's different. There's a lot of growth involved, and it's a lot of healing. It's a very spiritual relationship, and I don't want everyone to think that it's the end all be all and that's going to make you happy. Just to give you one more, and you can skip to the reading, by the way, you don't have to listen. But I was just going to give you a quick, they're asking me to tell you the story where I was in college and I felt like there was a lot going on. Like I was doing an internship and I was working a full-time job and I was a single mom and I was going to school, and I kept thinking when all of this is completed, I would be happy. And then I knew I was graduating in a particular month, a particular year. I was graduating 2008. And so anyway, so May of 2008 came and everything came to abrupt end. And I kept thinking when everything is done and everything is finished, when I get my degrees and when I'm done with my internship and when I'm done with this job and I get a new job, like everything is going to be so happy. And what happened was instead I graduated. My relationship with my boyfriend ended up ending. I ended up, not being in the internship anymore. The job ended, all this stuff. I ended up having all this free time. So what I realized was all that did was distract me from me, and now I was left with me, myself, and I didn't know what to do with it, and I started crying. Like I think I cried for 2 months because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a job while I was trying. I mean, I got a job right away, but the moral of the story is I wasn't happy, and here I was wishing for happiness, saying, "Oh, once this is done, then I'll be happy." And then then it all happened where just like what I knew would happen, I would get to rest, I would get to sleep. I no longer had like this day of homework and college and working and internship, and even the relationship wasn't that good. And and then when I got everything I wanted, oh, I was not happy. I was anything but happy. And so they're saying, be happy now because it's all from within. Nothing externally is going to make you happy. Not when it comes to anything they call an idol, anything to do with your, like a person, anything to do with a place that you want to go, anything to do with a job, anything to do with some kind of circumstance. It's just not going to make you happy. Only from within can you be happy. Okay. So anyway, enough of that. Let's start the reading. So let me go ahead. Thank you for listening. But if you didn't listen, I say welcome. And let's tune into the reading. So this is the feminine, this is the masculine. So this is the spiritual feminine, the earthly feminine. This is the the spiritual masculine and the earthly masculine. Okay, so let's see what you got. So with the divine feminine, we pulled the disruption card, and that was clarified by the Six of Swords. Let me see if I can make this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so what this means is a lot of the divine feminines, again, nothing to do with female, are going through this huge disruption. You know there's a catalyst at play here. You know that you're dropping your old self. You know your things are ending. Things are being shaken up. How life used to be is no longer. It's disrupting your mind. It's disrupting your peace. This obviously is the Tower card. So the Tower is happening. There's a clearing going on. Again, this has to do with a rebirth. You know how this has to do with, rising from the ashes. And so you're very well aware that your divine masculine or, divine, whatever, your divine counterpart is being your catalyst right now. And it's shaken you up to your core and you are trying to stabilize. But again, you're letting it fall away and you're letting your old self, you're letting your old self end and you're letting your new self come in. So this is actually a really good card. Okay. And then, but it's clarified by Six of Swords, which says tranquility ahead. So it's almost like you guys know that once this shakeup is over, everything is going to be just fine. Or if you didn't know, if you're going through this shakeup right now, the divine wants you to know that there's tranquility ahead. Once you allow this, and there's no such thing as time, so ever how long it takes you to get through this clearing, allow your old self to die off and your new self to be born, that's as quick as this tranquility ahead will come. Because timelines are collapsing. It can be as quick as you want it to be. It could be as long as you want it to be. If you want it to be a long healing process, it can be. But if you want it to be a short healing process, it can be. Okay, you also got Heart Chakra reversed along with Knight of Cups reversed. So what this tells me is some of you are still healing your heart. You're healing your heart chakra, and it's because this romantic gesture has not come. So a lot of you were expecting this romantic gesture to happen, and because it hasn't, it has broken your hearts. So you're going through a lot of heart healing. And so again, what you have to understand is this is you in another body, because we're talking about a twin flame here. And because it's you in another body, they're just mirroring something back to you. So you have to understand what it is. How are you imbalanced? What is the imbalancing telling you? And loving yourself is how you love them. Loving yourself is how they love you. That's just the way it works. This is not a 3D relationship. If you give yourself a romantic gesture, if you show yourself love, when you heal your own heart, then that does the same thing for your twin flame. It's such a weird relationship. It's so backwards. It's not 3D and it's not a codependent relationship. You cannot expect this person to make a romantic gesture towards you until you make a romantic gesture towards yourself, until you fulfill yourself, until you heal your own heart. Otherwise, all you're doing is, as an imbalanced person, you're attracting yourself as your shadow side because you're imbalanced. Trust me, I know, I did it. That's what I did. Okay. The next card is, so you got Suffering and Silence reversed along with Concrete Ideas, Page of Pentacles. So this is kind of good because it's reversed. So it looks like a lot of you are getting over the suffering and silence. So that's good. So it looks like a lot of you were suffering in silence. You're starting to heal. from the suffering and silence, and you're coming up with some concrete ideas on how to get out of this suffering, I mean. So a lot of you are putting pen to paper. Some of you are coming up with ideas. You're really figuring this out. You're taking notes, or some of you are just maybe starting your mission. You're just coming up with some great ideas on how to end this suffering. So that's awesome because it is reversed. So I feel like a lot of you are coming out of this. All right. And then on your earthly feminine side, you got transformation, which is the death card reversed, along with the chariot reverse. Yep. So they're asking you to continue with their transformation. They're asking you to forge ahead. Okay. Because if you look at the chariot, see how she's riding the horse and she's, moving ahead on this. She's charging ahead. And then they're asking you to charge ahead with this transformation. Keep going. Some of you might think, enough, I'm getting tired, enough of this transformation, but they're asking you to go deeper because really what this is about, it's just you and another body being your catalyst, helping you to have this rebirth. This is the death of the old you. This is the death of the 3D you going into the 5D you. This is getting out of the matrix. That's what this is. You're getting out of the matrix. You're deprogramming yourself. Your twin flame is your catalyst. You're the catalyst for them as well, for sure. You're the catalyst for each other, and because it's you in another body. And so they're asking you to continue going deeper with this transformation. Okay, you also got memories of love. So this is 6 of Cups reversed, along with the Hanged Man reversed. So what this is saying is to please have a new perspective on your past. So the memories of love is not upright. So this tells me that a lot of you are feeling maybe not so positive about the past. You could do one or two things. You can go back and say, okay, so this is how the past went. So for instance, let me give you an example. So my past with my divine masculine was with a third party situation a couple of times after meeting. So I met my twin flame in 2017. Even though he was single, he chose to go in 2 different other relationships since meeting me. And so I have to have a new perspective on that past because literally that is me in another body mirroring back to me. Okay. And then I have to kind of see, well, in my own perspective, why that happened and what it all means. And, put it back to me because it just meant that I wasn't balanced. I didn't claim myself. I didn't even know he was my twin flame, to be honest. I didn't know what it was until 2019, beginning of 2019. Anyway, I now have a new perspective on what all that meant and what all that did. Well, and then plus, not to mention, we dated in 2019. So now I know the truth. I mean, now I literally know the truth of what it was, and it really wasn't what I thought it was and why he was in it. And he just didn't feel good enough to be with me. That's all. That's all it was. I mean, so you just have to have a new perspective of what, of what it was in the past. And I'm sure it's not far from the truth on what mine was. When you're imbalanced, okay, I'm going to use me as an example. When I was imbalanced, it put my divine masculine side of me in not in balance. And what that meant was because my divine masculine side of me was not in balance, didn't feel good enough for the relationship. Didn't feel good enough for the relationship, but still loved me. But what this person had to do was distract. Because when you don't feel good enough for someone, yet love someone, what you try to do is distract yourself. You don't want to be reminded. And so you do everything you can to get away from it and distract yourself to think, well, this person I feel good enough with, and this will make me feel better, only to find that it doesn't. Okay? And so just know your divine counterpart always loved you, always wanted to be with you, just never felt good enough because of the imbalance, had no choice. It was definitely blocked due to the divine, and it was blocked also because of you. You blocked it. And you blocked it because the only way you could heal was to be in separation. Because that's another thing. You guys had to learn that there is no such thing as separation. That is just an illusion. Because you could still feel each other because it's you. So it's just having a different perspective. I'm just giving you one perspective. You may have a better perspective than me. That's just one perspective. Okay. And you also got power, the 8, which is the strength card, with the King of Pentacles reversed. So what this is telling me is that a lot of you are taking your power back. A lot of you are becoming more stabilized. And Pentacles has to do with finance. You're becoming more stabilized in your finance. You're becoming more stabilized in your own abundance. You're feeling more abundant on your own. You're realizing, you're just taking your power back. You just realize that you could do this on your own. Just don't do what I did. Stay nurturing towards your divine self counterpart. Okay, even if you're just thinking about it or in any kind of discourse, it doesn't matter. It's still like yourself knows in the other body. Okay. And so, let's see, King of Pentacles reversed. So, yeah, this has to do with you stabilizing yourself, stabilizing your own life. So I feel like it's upside down. So you're still working on stabilizing in all aspects of your life, but you are taking your power back. Okay. All right. And then let's go over what is imbalanced. Okay. So for some of you have some excess spiritual feminine. That means you might be feeling a little needy. So if you're feeling a little needy towards your divine counterpart, what that means you have an excess, which means what that might be making your divine masculine side of you. You might be making them feel more withdrawn, unaware, lost, fearful, or not good enough. Okay, for the connection, that's what that would cause. Okay, for some of you, you might be feeling nervous about, maybe you feel like nervous, like, oh, this person's never coming. So you're getting nervous. And that means you have some insufficient spiritual feminine going on. Okay. And what that could be doing is causing your divine masculine to feel anxious, maybe perhaps feel more distant, or maybe wants to control the situation more, but it's making your divine masculine side imbalanced. And then for some of you are feeling more like a martyr, okay? And that's the opposite spectrum. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's the same as needy. Believe it or not, it's the same as neediness. So being needy or acting as a martyr, meaning a martyr is someone who's saying, I've done everything, you've done nothing. I've carried this all. I've done all the work. You have done no work. Meanwhile, it's you in another body, so of course they are. They have no choice but to do the work, and they're suffering as much as you are. So being the martyr is causing an insufficient spiritual masculine, and that's causing your spiritual masculine to either be fearful, withdrawn, unaware, or lost. And then for some of you are overthinking, and if you're overthinking, you're definitely probably causing anxiety. So when you're and it's funny because a lot of us, the divine feminine side, have never experienced anxiety until we got into this twin flame journey. And what's going on is we're thinking, why the heck do we have anxiety? Why are we feeling this anxiety? Because of our own overthinking, we're causing anxiety in ourselves, which is really stemming from our divine counterparts. And they don't feel good enough when we're overthinking. When we're overthinking, thinking maybe no, maybe let's not do this, maybe they're not the one, and that makes them more anxious and distant. For some of you, also maybe there's some confusion, and that has to do with an insufficient amount of spiritual feminine. And again, that has to do with oh, I'm sorry, this is the earthly. I apologize. So this has to do with excess earthly feminine. Okay. So if some of you are feeling confused in your earthly feminine, then this would cause your divine earthly masculine side of you to be insufficient. And that would cause more him being stagnant, stuck. I should say they, not him. They would be more hopeless, not awake, stagnant, and stuck. All right. And then the last one I pulled is scattered. And I know I felt this way as well. When you're scattered, like you just don't know how to think, like you don't know how to feel. Like if you're like me, I'm constantly figuring stuff out and I get so scattered where I'm like, like every day is different. Like I feel like maybe it could be minute to minute. So when you're not in your intuition and you don't have compassion for your divine counterpart, it makes you feel scattered. And it's the same as overthinking. Not exactly the same, but it's kind of the same. You're scattered, you're overthinking, and it's making your divine counterpart a bit more anxious and distant. And remember, it's you. This is your divine feminine side. This is your divine masculine side of you, because it's fifth dimensional, because there is no such thing as separation. You are the one, you are all. There's nothing outside of you. So your divine counterpart is being manifested in the 3D. It's almost like a game, it's almost like a video game to show you what it is you're still working on, to show you what you're still imbalanced in. And then once you figure it out, what like how to balance yourself, then you and your 3D counterpart will come into union through being balanced. Okay. All right. And then also, I just wanted to say that your message to your divine masculine side of you, you're saying, I'm abundant and I'm trying to keep a positive mindset. And I'm learning to have gratitude and bliss. So this is what you're saying to your divine masculine side of you, that you're getting to feel, which doesn't surprise me, because I feel like you're stabilizing and you're coming into your power on your earthly feminine side of yourself. And so you're starting to feel more abundant and having a more positive mindset. On the other hand, what you want to tell your divine masculine is that this relationship is not enough. You are frustrated, you have lack of confidence, and you're starting to fear of what is going on. This relationship is not, you're feeling like either maybe you're not enough, or maybe you're feeling like they're not enough, or this relationship is just not what you thought, and it's feeling like not enough. Again, this is telling you to like feel whole as you are, just to feel whole with everything you have. And this is something that I had to work on, and I feel like I accomplished, but the needle went a little too far to the right, where I became a little bit too rigid, a little bit too serious, and it started the whole, almost withholding my nurturing part of me. Whereas I felt so whole by myself that I'm like, yeah, you're just more of a distraction. I don't need you in my life. And that was not the point. So it's the whole point is to know that you are one, you are not separated. You love your divine masculine side of you. You are enough. They are enough. Meaning you're enough, meaning that if this person is not in your life in the physical, you are still good. You're still fine. At the same time, being nurturing to your divine masculine side of you, since it is you. Okay. All right. So now let's look at your masculine side of yourself. So with this one, we got let's see, High Priestess reversed along with accelerated motion. I believe is the Eight of Wands. So what this is saying is that they are starting to question their own intuition. So it's reversed. So the divine masculine is in the spiritual is starting to question their own intuition. But once they do, once they're back in their intuition, then this whole thing will become accelerated. When I mean this whole thing, I mean this journey will be accelerated. I mean timelines will collapse. But it's just about balancing out your own divine feminine and your own divine masculine. So once you balance out your divine feminine first, I know that sounds weird, but you have to balance out your divine feminine side first. And once you do that, it'll balance out your divine masculine side. So because of this, maybe not feeling like maybe you're not feeling like you're enough on your own, or maybe feeling like this relationship's not enough. or whatever it may be, whatever it is you're working on, whether it's the scattered thinking, the overthinking, whether it's the confusion, once that is in balance, so to be balanced again, it's to use your intuition, focus on self, have compassion, then your divine masculine side of you will start to trust their own intuition, and then there'll be accelerated motion. Okay. Then the next one you got for your divine masculine is judgment upright, along with prosperity begins. Okay, and so what this is saying is judgment is all about rebirth. So this one says karma review. So this means your divine masculine side of you is going through a huge rebirth, and that prosperity is beginning. They know they're going through a rebirth, and they know once they're with you, that is when prosperity begins. They know this. They are already aware. They know that prosperity starts with this union. Okay. Now you, as a divine feminine, has to know that prosperity starts within you as being whole, and that will follow with the divine masculine saying, okay, and now I feel whole in this relationship. Now I feel good enough for this relationship. And that is a sort of rebirth for them. Okay. Which is you. Okay, and then the other thing is Page of Swords, upright with the movement, choices, decisions. So what this is saying is that they're thinking a lot. There's a lot of thinking going on. But what are they thinking about? They're thinking about what movement they should do next. They're thinking about what choice they should make, what decision they should make. They're thinking about what door to take. They're really thinking about this. They're really thinking about how to come forward to their divine feminine. It's a big contemplation that's going on in their heads. All right, and then the next card for the divine masculine is we got Magician reversed along with emotional withdrawal. So what this is saying is, and this is the Eight of Cups, so the divine masculine right now is emotionally withdrawing, and they're trying to manifest within themselves, which is good. So they're going within, see how this person's meditating. They're not going outside of themselves for answers. They're trying to manifest. They're trying to figure out, what they're thinking. I guess their thinking's not really helping because they're having a lot of thoughts here. And they're getting more confused with all these doors. So now what they're doing is they're also kind of going within, they're emotionally withdrawing, and they're trying to manifest this relationship. Okay. All right. And then the next card they got is Eight of Swords upright, and this is the full card reversed. So what this is saying, and this doesn't surprise me because there's a little bit of imbalance going on. And again, you could be doing what I did, and because of the song, I think they feel like, hey, I was getting kind of used to being someone you loved. What's going on? Now I'm not feeling the love anymore, and now they have this negative thinking, and now they're not ready to take that risk. They're not ready to make that next step yet because they have this negative thinking going on. It says imprisonment. So they're imprisoning themselves with their own thoughts. They're doing it to themselves. And there's this new beginning that they want with you, but they're really afraid to take that step right now because of this negative thinking. And then we also got on your divine masculine side of you, we got the material and spiritual prosperity along, so I guess it's the Six of Pentacles, along with Ace of Pentacles reversed. And so they're questioning if they are they're questioning if they're good enough for you. They're questioning if they are a wise investment for you to make. That's to see how he's looking out. Like he wants this with you, or she wants this with you. They want the divine masculine. They want this with you. They want this material and spiritual prosperity. They're looking out. This is what they really want, but they're questioning their own worth right now. They're wondering, am I really a wise investment though? Because they're having a lot of negative thinking right now. There's a lot of negative thinking, and they're not willing to take that risk right now. So there's more of an emotional withdrawal, and that's because of what I went over before, why your divine feminine, divine masculine energies are imbalanced. So that's what's causing that, which is easily fixed, by the way. There's no such thing as time. That could be fixed. But what they're channeling, what they're saying to me is that it takes about a week. So you have to be balanced. You have to be balanced in your divine feminine and divine masculine energies for at least a week. And then in the 3D, it gets manifested. Okay. So you have to be balanced for at least a week, and it has to be at least 60% of the time, because no one's 100%. It's just not. Because it's Earth. We live in a matrix. Okay. But they're asking us to do this 60% of the time for at least a week, and then that will start balancing out your divine counterpart. And then that will take about a week. And then after that, who knows? Well, I know with mine, I know when I balanced out with this for a week, what happened was my divine masculine figured out we're twin flames. So that's good. Since then, my divine masculine also knows that I love him and knows that he loves me. But then my next step was, because and this is why I teach it, because I'm in this journey with you. The next step is that, well, we don't want you to be codependent, because now you're going to be, when you go to this relationship, you're going to treat it the way you did the last time. You're going to be codependent, and you're going to rely on them for whatever it is. Like, oh, when are they going to text me? Oh, are they going to hang out with me Friday night? And so that's why that was delayed as well, because then they said, but now you have to know, you have to feel like you are enough. You have to feel like you are enough by yourself. So when you're back in physical union and this person decides to go in and out, and I know a lot of you have already experienced this. I know a lot of you already know what I'm talking about. They're in and out, they're in and out. Based on the fact that the divine feminine side is feeling not enough. And so they really care that their divine masculine didn't text them, or they really care that they chose to do something else than hang out with them on Friday night. And because of that, the divine is blocking it. They do not want us to think of it as a codependent relationship. They want us to be whole on their own. So if they're in and out, who cares? And and at the same time, we're nurturing. At the same time, we're compassionate. We get it. We know it's us, ourselves, and another body, and all they could do is mirror us. And so, what they're telling me to tell you is, when I was in the relationship, even though I wasn't emotionally connected to myself due to the fact of my upbringing, instead of my divine counterpart knowing that it had to do with me, thought that it had to do with him. So because I felt not emotionally connected to myself, he felt like I wasn't emotionally connecting to him. That scared him, and that's why he left. Okay? And just know, whatever's not healed inside of you, if you're not doing the purging, if you're not doing the work, if you're not doing the self-love, again, that's me personally being emotionally connected. But if you're not emotionally connected, that's what will come out in the 3D relationship. Okay, so let's see what's not balanced on the divine masculine side. So we got insufficient spiritual masculine. Again, not feeling good enough for the connection. So for some of you, your divine masculine is not feeling good enough for the connection. For the divine masculine, some of them are feeling kind of like forcing. So that could mean like they're not like they're like forcing themselves not to want to be in this relationship, or they're forcing themselves, not to move forward with this relationship, because of the overthinking and scattered thinking or nervous thinking on the feminine side. This is causing them to be more forcing of, no, this is not going to happen. And then anxiety, we talked about that. Of course, overthinking from the feminine side is going to cause anxiety on the masculine. And then also we got fighting, which is the same, which actually has to do with the earthly masculine. So this had to do with if you're like me and you're feeling more rigid and cold and dry and you're not feeling love toward your divine masculine, that's going to make him like he'll fight it more. He'll fight the connection more. I should say they 40% of women are the masculine, and then aggression, same thing, and then fighting, aggression, same thing. So I remember when I first met my twin flame, not knowing this person was my twin flame, by the way, I had no clue what that even meant. I didn't even know we were meant together. All I know is I didn't want to be in a relationship. I felt really good not being in a relationship, and I felt like he was attracted to me. And so because of that, what I usually do is I shut down. That's just me. For any man that shows interest in me and I don't want to be in a relationship, I shut down. Not knowing that this was me in another body, he became very like not nice. So not knowing, like, because my own feeling of get away from me, that made him more like he wouldn't like look at me or talk to me, not like aggressive, just more like not very nice. And so that's what will happen if you become cold, rigid, or dry, even in your thinking, because it's you in another body. They just feel it. They just know. Okay. Then on their side, oh, I'm sorry, and I forgot to give you on the divine feminine side. This is guidance from the divine. It says acceptance is the key to inner peace. At times we must accept things as they are. There is no point trying to change that which is beyond our control. Yep. So even though I'm thinking you do have control, because all you're doing is balancing out your own divine feminine and your own divine masculine energies, at the same time acceptance, which I'm mastering now, which I'm really happy about, because really it's like liberating. Let me tell you, it's like you take your life back. It's so awesome. But I didn't mean to be so rigid about it. Like I didn't know I was doing that until the song started playing in my head. But maybe some of you are doing the same thing as me. But anyway, acceptance is the key to inner peace. It's so nice when you just have inner peace, like nothing's controlling you. Okay. And then the guidance for the divine masculine side of you, it says, beware of what you are projecting, for the qualities you admire in one another are qualities you both possess, equally so. The qualities you don't like are also your own reflection. Yep. And so I actually got a card. So I pulled from my own divine feminine and my own divine masculine energies, where my divine masculine side of me felt like not only did they hurt me, but also that they didn't feel like equal. And so what this is saying is, especially when you're in the 3D, you have to know that you're equals, and that if your divine counterpart in the 3D makes you mad or pisses you off in any kind of way, you're just projecting, and whatever you admire in your twin flame, you already have. But whatever you don't like, whatever you don't admire, it's about you as well. And that's key. Your 3D relationship will work out so well if you just get this. If you just understand that you guys are equal and that whatever you don't like in your twin flame is actually you, it's actually a quality in you that needs to be healed or fixed, you're going to do really well in your 3D relationship. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of things that you're not going to like about your twin flame in the 3D, and it's going to have nothing to do with them. It's going to be all you. Not even knowing that this was something you had to heal. Okay. Also, what your divine masculine side of you wants you to know is that they need more time. It takes time. They need more time to heal. They need more time to progress, which makes sense, right? They're kind of going through something right now due to the fact of this imbalance going on. So they're asking for more time. But they also want to let you know that they feel a lot of passion for their divine feminine. It says insane chemistry. They have insane chemistry for you, okay? And they don't want it to be later. I'll tell you that right now. But right now, I'm telling you this song is saying, let me move it because we're about done. because the song keeps playing over and over in my head. Think about it when that song plays, I was getting kind of used to being someone you loved. So if you were like me and you were feeling more so like, and I loved feeling empowered, like, oh yeah, I'm so great on my own. I'm doing so well. I am growing. Um, I'm the divine feminine and I am whole and I don't need to have anyone, take over and empower me. And that's fine. And that's a good way to live. And it's a happier way to live. And let me tell you, it's like healthy, but not at the expense of your twin flame, which is you in another body. So if the discourse is, or the thinking is, which I was doing that thinking every morning, saying to myself, because my twin flame is not helping me grow right now in the 3D, my twin flame is not for my highest good. And because I was saying that to myself and because I was thinking it, that that really put me out of balance and um, that made me rigid, that made me cold, that made me withhold love. And so, yes, I was being patient, no doubt about it. Yes, I was being receptive, but I wasn't being nurturing to me and my third dimensional counterparts as a person. Like I wasn't being nurturing to my twin flame in the 3D. I was being nurturing to myself and I was being nurturing to my fifth dimensional because I really do pay a lot of attention to my fifth dimensional twin flame because I feel him all the time. It's my soul. So my fifth dimensional twin flame, I feel very close to, and I think that's another reason why I feel so happy. But at the same time, like I can't have that type of rigid thinking, or that rigid, I can't say the word rigidity, or coldness. I was being cold, flat out being cold. And to my surprise, my divine masculine in the 3D felt that. And I didn't think so because I never felt that bad. On Friday, I felt so bad. Friday, it was like something came over me that was just sadness. And it lasted the entire day. It lasted the entire night. I even felt it while sleeping. Like I couldn't it was just this sadness. And I knew what was happening. And I said, oh my God, something's not good. And because again, I was feeling it because that is me in another body. And when I'm being that mean to myself in another body, when I'm being that condescending to myself in another body, of course that's going to affect me and it's going to affect my divine counterpart. And so compassion is key for your divine counterpart since they have done nothing wrong. They are just the catalyst. And of course, they're helping us to grow. They're helping us to grow. I mean, how else would I be getting out of this third dimension if it wasn't for my twin flame? It's not all me. I'm not the end all be all. I'm not the only one. Yes, I'm the divine feminine and yes, I'm whole and yes, I'm living a great life and yes, I'm prosperous and yes, I'm good. I'm fine even if I'm not in physical union with my twin flame. But at the same time, I love my twin flame. At the same time, I'm nurturing towards my twin flame. At the same time, I would love to have my twin flame in my life. Is it something that I need? No, but I would love to have my twin flame. But I wasn't expressing that. I was more very hard assed, very much like not for my highest good. And so that put me out of balance. And so that's why I wanted to share that. I'm glad that I'm going through this journey with you. And so I hope it helps you because I think many of you are on the same path as me. We're all on different parts of our path, though. I might be ahead of some of you. I may be behind some of you. Some of you might already be in union. I have friends who are already in physical union, but are kind of going through that same, like, what's happening? Are we really going to stay together? I hope we do. Are we really going to get married? Are they ever going to tell me that they love me? It's like that type of thing. So even people in union are like, when are they going to tell me? Where's that message of love? So even in union, it's still very like, And so I'm very, very grateful, though, that you clicked on my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's DMDF update. If you liked it, please like. Oh, you know what? I may take off the likes and dislikes. I don't know. I'm this way or that way about it. we'll see. Anyway, if I decide to keep the like and dislike on, like, share, please subscribe, please comment, let me know like how you're doing. I love to hear your ideas. I love to hear what you're all doing. It helps me. I'm growing too. I'm still researching myself. Also, if you're interested in a personal reading or if you're interested in a life coaching session, I am a certified life coach. I do like to teach on the whole balancing out the inner divine feminine, divine masculine energies, among other things. Then please email me below. Otherwise, I wish you love and blessings, love and blessings, love and blessings. And again, thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.